Well, I'm so excited to be having a chat with beautiful Tanya Gray today and picking her brain in this month's episode of Interview with an Evolver. Hey, Tanya, how are you today?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm really good. It's such a beautiful thing to be able to feature amazing people in our community who have studied with us. And I'm super excited to talk to you because you are just doing such incredible work in the world. So, for people listening to this that haven't met you before, can you just let them know what do you do?
Okay, there's lots that I do. My main is I call myself a hypnotherapist and mindset coach. I work with people with stress, overwhelm, anxiety, fear. So that was how I started, but I've continued to evolve. I now currently work with a psychologist out at Scenario Wellness. So I work closely with her, and I work with people with lots of different emotional blocks. So again, what I've just said. I also work at a place called Her Health, which is at North Adelaide. So it's about women's health, gynecology, obstetrician, doctor, like everything about women's health. So I work with people there with, again, fear, a lot of emotional blocks. I also do hypnobirthing there. So that sort of led me on a different path. And I also work from home as a EMK kinesiologist. So I help people, again, with emotions, but more through muscle testing and a little bit more of a different holistic approach. So, and usually they get a little bit of hypnotherapy and NLP in that anyway.
Yeah, you just can't help but sprinkle that gold through everything. So,
Exactly.
so I love that because I really am a big believer that you can be so multifaceted and draw upon whatever tools the person really requires. So when did you being interested in this line of what you're doing now really begin for you?
Well, I've been teaching fitness and for the last 30 years. So I've been in the fitness industry for a long time. And so I think it just sort of started more physical. And then about 8 years ago, I started doing remedial massage and I did my yoga teacher training. And it was around that time that I realized that there was something missing in wellness. And I found that it was obviously the emotion, which I didn't know. And I remember saying to a friend, I need to do like a counseling course.
Yeah.
Because I'm holding people, space with people. They're wanting to share their sort of, concerns or problems or whatever. And the universe happened to introduce me to Anna,
Mm.
who was doing NLP at the time. And it was like, yep, I'm sold. So, and it all sort of works in well together. So, and again, I sort of did NLP thinking that's just what I'm going to do, just NLP. And of course, I've gone on and done masters and I think every course with you. So NLP, hypno, and advanced hypno. So, and it's just an amazing tool to have because it brings in physical and emotional, mental as well. So, and now with kinesiology, it's a bit more spiritual. So, yeah, it's
All the
good.
worlds are being
All
balanced.
the worlds, yes,
And
yes.
so I'd love to know for you personally, because I witnessed you go through the journey of NLP and then hypnotherapy. And I remember meeting you a couple of weeks after you'd done the hypnotherapy course. And I was like, there
Yeah.
was such a physical presence shift and change in your energy. Like you were just so much more relaxed. And I'm curious what you've noticed for yourself on this personally, having delved into all of these modalities as well.
Yeah. Well, again, I started off with NLP and masters, and I got such amazing shifts. Got a really good understanding of what was happening, what my blocks were. Not that I even thought I had blocks. I was always a positive person. Started sort of clean out those filters and started to look at things differently. But yeah, that shift in hypnotherapy just was, yeah, I think I just sort of seen myself in a different light, started to realize I was holding myself back because I was worried about, perception. And yeah, I had this big light bulb moment in hypnotherapy where I just go, what am I doing? What am I holding myself back for? And, and I didn't just feel that mental, I just felt it physically as well. And that's, to this day, is still one of my biggest shifts I ever had.
I,
So
I
just
saw it. You know, obviously over the years, I've seen so many people have shifts and transformation, but seeing you just like so present and steady, and it was almost like all of the kind of like busyness of the mind just went like and just settled into this real beautiful space. So yeah, I'm glad that it was also huge for you as well. So then for people who are listening to this and maybe they're in a similar space where they're thinking, I want to study something, maybe it's counseling, maybe it's, you know, different things. What was it about the sort of NLP and hypnotherapy side of things for you that really drew you into that?
I think the courses actually, I was able to, like most of the courses, because I've done human resource management. So rewind even earlier, I was in the government in human resource management as well. So a lot of the courses I'd done up until then had been outcome based, like you learn something, whereas I was experiencing and having the experience of the NLP and actually being hands-on as well, and feeling what it was like to be able to create those shifts in myself, so then I could actually create shifts in other people. It wasn't just theory-based. We just didn't learn it. We felt it and were actually able to implement it as well. And I think that was sort of a huge game changer for my confidence as well, because I was getting some amazing and positive outcomes. So I just knew whoever came and had sessions with me, we're going to get them too. So I just wasn't learning the information, I was actually doing and evolving at the same time.
That real embodiment and transformation rather than just that information.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned at the start you help your clients with a lot of fear. Can you talk a little bit about that, or like what are some of the patterns that you've noticed, or some of the common things that women are coming to you with, and some of the common things that you really help people shift through?
I'm lucky that because I work in different places, I actually experience and get to work with people from different perspectives.
Yeah.
But again, mostly common, it is all about emotions. It's just educating people to understand that all emotions are good. And, you know, like people come in and there's a lot of, you know, guilt, fear, anger, sadness, but actually telling them that it is okay, helping them understand that, you know, about life being in a balance, you know, if happiness and sadness isn't sort of so extreme, we can actually live with it, and just helping them educate. So yeah, educating them to really just lean into it, and to how they're feeling, and helping them understand why they're feeling the way they're feeling. So actually empowering them to know that they're perfect, they're not broken, you know, they don't need to change, they just may need to change their perception, and give them those tools to just start to see and feel life differently. So you know, when I'm working with out at Norwood at Scenario Wellness, I work male and female. And again, most of it comes down to the emotion, a lot of limiting beliefs, and also helping goal setting. Again, shadow, it just depends. You know, every client is different. And, you know, at Her Health is all women. So again, it's a lot of emotion about them showing up the best that they can in the world, giving them tools as well. I like to be able to help educate people, understanding that where they are is okay, not that, you know, they need to change and they just maybe need a reframe or a shift. And again, and also I'm now finding I'm starting, because I teach pump and yoga and RPM and that I'm back in teaching. I find my language is also very different. So, you know, people come up to me afterwards and they'll say, you know, wow, like, you know, I've worked really hard in that session. Normally it's easy, but so it's understanding, teaching people that how powerful words are.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think having that awareness then just ripples into everything that you're able to do in the world. You have such a full, busy life. I love it. You've got so many different aspects to what you're doing. So one thing I've really noticed is the ripple effect of change. I've had personally so many people contact me and say that they found out about my podcast or our courses because of you, and because of the work they've done with you being so transformational that it's then inspired them to want to learn more for themselves. And so what do you think it is about the space that you really create with your clients that helps them to find you, want to work with you, and then want to continue growing?
So, yeah, so maybe because I've been, I mean, I hate to say the word, but been around for a while, you know, I'm getting older, you know, I've been, you know, I've got my foot in lots of different places. And I just think I can see a lot of people, how people are in myself. I think because I've experienced, you know, the overwhelm, I've burnt myself out, you know, I'm a mum of teenagers, so there's different challenges again. And I know I just love it. I suppose I've always just been able to use these tools for myself, and I can see how valuable they are for others. And I've just, I suppose, just been open to whatever's come my way. So, and I like to, you know, I like to help people, but at the same time, it's I've been lucky enough, or I've been open enough to the opportunities that have come my way. Because when I started this journey, I didn't see how big it was going to be. And I'm so grateful every day that, you know, I get to do what I do in the spaces that I do.
Yeah,
So,
I think what I notice, you're obviously really relatable and you're really real. And you're also like obviously a great communicator and networker, and you're always meeting new people as well. But I think like there's just such a place of levelness with you. There's not, you know, oh, I know it's like I can support you with this stuff, but it's from a really gentle place as well, that people know they're going to get
yeah.
strong shifts. And I think that's really beautiful. And I know there's so many people that will listen to this that you have supported. So I really want to acknowledge that, because it's super cool from our perspective, obviously, to see people go through the different shifts and layers and then see what kind of amazing ripple effects there are in the work that you're doing. So that being said, there are a lot of new people coming through our trainings that are maybe just starting out, or they're like, oh, do I want to actually step into, you know, using these NLP and hypnotherapy tools out there in the world? Maybe they've still got some stuff to work through about creating that space for themselves to take that opportunity. What would be your best advice for new coaches starting out in these sorts of modalities?
Trust. So I remember when I had to make the commitment to this course, I just knew, my gut said I had to do it. So I just knew that whatever was going to happen, I was going to, you know, I made it happen. I was sort of at the time juggling a job, teaching teenagers, you know, husband traveling, and I'm going, you know, this, I want to do this, but something I just trusted. And that, so just trusting, and then also just being open. Again, I could see myself at home, you know, doing a couple of massages, helping people mindset. But yeah, again, it's just gone so much bigger by just taking opportunities, but also not comparing myself, because, you know, I always knew that I wanted to help people. I stayed on my own track, like my own lane, because, you know, some of the coaches that I studied with are amazing, but I never felt pulled to compare myself, because I knew where I wanted to go. So it's a matter of just trusting and just doing and just being open, because, you know, I would never have dreamed I'd be working with the people that I'm working. But at the same time, yeah, it's been the best thing I've ever done. So always grateful every single day.
Yeah, I really get that sense from you. And it's just organically grown because of that gratitude and showing up and creating that space with people. And I agree. I see so many people who set out to do kind of coaching or therapies, and they get so kind of frozen deer in headlights from all of the quote unquote competition. And I think what you're a really great example of is just, you know, be you, stay in your lane, find your people, and the work will be there. So yeah, it's that's awesome advice. So then what about some overall kind of general advice then for people listening? We are, you know, in the start of a new year. We are, you know, it's a time for people to really kind of move forward and make decisions. Like, I'm a big believer that life is here for us to, you know, live our highest, most fulfilling expression of ourselves. So what would you say to people listening that are maybe a little bit, you know, they've got a dream, but they're a bit scared, or they want to take a dive into something, but they're sort of holding themselves back? Like, what would be some general advice you would want to give to listeners just about moving forward, following their dreams, living their passion? What comes to mind?
I suppose it's just, you know, just trying to find someone you connect with, even just starting listening to podcasts and just starting to get that reframe of, there's so much more out there. I mean, I had someone that I know quite well come up to me the other day, goes, "Oh, have you heard of Tony Robbins?" And yeah, so just people are starting to look for different, sources of information, and just listening to them. So I gave her a couple of the things to listen to, including your podcast, because I've got certain episodes that I just send to everyone that's interested, to help them understand about emotions, unconscious mind, and things like that. And then, some people, that's all they need.
Yeah.
Some people, and then some people are going, look, I need to dive in a little deeper. So then that way, they can either work with me or with someone else. And and as I said, what I like to do is, because the way I like to work is just offer a small, like intro pack of 3 sessions, or a bit. Sometimes people want to go for a bigger pack, and they don't need to do it all at the right time, like the same time. It's an ongoing process. So I'm always forever evolving. I've just done kinesiology, so I've had some great shifts in that modality as well. So it's just saying that, and a lot of people say, when I feel better, when I do this, I always just try to tell people that they're perfect exactly the way they are. Sometimes they need to just do a little bit of reframing, a little bit of clearing of their mindset, and move forward. So so it's not a magic pill. A lot of people think they're going to come in and see me, 1 session, magic pill. So and it's definitely not that. So, and some people don't need any more than 1 or 2 sessions. Some people need a lot. And but one thing I've just this is probably a bit cheeky to sort of bring this up, but as from next year, a friend of mine that has been in the industry just as long as I have, we're joining forces, because she's doing a lot of breath work, and she's in fitness, and so we're going to be offering monthly workshops just on movement, breath, mindset. So we're going to be doing that, and this is going to allow people just to sort of put their foot in, because sometimes people aren't ready. Like I've spoken to some people where I've planted seeds, I might not hear from them for 6 months, because it is big. It can be quite uncomfortable. It's not a magic pill that you just take in and the world's going to be amazing. You got to do the work, and it's a self responsibility model. So but it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth the uncomfortable to get really comfortable.
Yeah, you're right. And someone's got to be ready to dive in and be committed to it. Because sometimes it can be challenging, and it can show you things that maybe you need to work through. I'm a big believer, obviously, of better out than in, and let's shift and clear this stuff. But I think those tasters is such a great option, and we'll put details on the below of this YouTube as well, so that people can access details about that. And I think that's a brilliant idea. And I think just that idea of, it's not just you do it once and then that's it. I talk about, we talk about dental hygiene. We've also got mental hygiene. We need to keep brushing and flossing our mind, just like we do our teeth. You wouldn't just brush your teeth once in your life and then that's it. We're constantly building up life and experiences and beliefs. So that's awesome. So any other final suggestions or feedback or anything else you want to share before we wrap up today's interview? But it's just been so lovely getting to know your world and the amazing stuff you're doing, and an example of the kind of ways that these tools that we share, obviously, with our community can integrate into so many other modalities and just bring it all together and strengthen it. Any kind of last parting words?
Just as I said, just dive in, just trust. And I'm seeing too many people with getting so many positive responses and shifts, that it's just something that is so worth it. Again, I've been in the fitness industry for 30 years, and I always, people go to a PT for their bodies. This is just like a PT for your mind. A couple of sessions, and then it might all you need, or a regular sessions, but I just think it's really important, because yeah, life is now. It's not in the future. It's not in the past. It's now. So having those tools allows us to embrace it.
I think that is a beautiful point. And one last cheeky question then. You've obviously studied all levels of training with us. What's your experience like studying with myself and Paul and Evolve and Relaunch?
Oh, amazing. Yeah, it's, if I wasn't for the two of you, I know I wouldn't be where I am now. The environment, the courses were supportive. I loved how I got to experience the shifts as well. And I think that made me a better coach, because I know every session I go into now, I know what it feels like to have, those perceived problems or emotions or whatever. And I know what it's like. Yeah, and just be surrounded by an amazing community that is, again, just getting bigger and bigger. And yeah, it's definitely life-changing. It's changed my life for the better, and I'm always grateful.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you so much, and keep shining your light. And we'll put links underneath this as well for anyone who wants to reach out to Tanya. I can highly recommend her. Just such a beautiful, multifaceted, talented, wise coach. So I know that you're in really safe hands. So thank you so much for your time today. It's been awesome to chat with you.
Thank you. Cheers. Thanks.